The other practices that I've been introducing into my teaching have been through recording software such as Panopto, and that's been a project that I did on behalf of the university. I initially started using that in terms of just straight recordings. Okay, so I turned up, did my lecture, recorded it, and some students used it, some students didn't. I was a bit worried that students wouldn't turn up, but they did. So I found that most students tended to use it towards exam periods, where they were brushing up on their notes, but also through conversations with the students, and also focus groups that I had organised across the 17 departments at the time, learned that a lot of students with dyslexia were using them, as well as students who had been taken ill, such as glandular fever, for example. They would not have been able to catch up as well as they did if they hadn't had the just normal recording of a lecture. They would have had to be scraping around notes from their friends and well, reading the textbook, I guess, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It was just easier catching up more quickly using Panopto, so they did it. This particular example, the student was able to do it in bed, whilst also reading the textbooks to supplement as well. International students have commented on using Panopto as well after, where they may have missing parts of their notes. So accents can be a struggle for them, and have international lecturers as well, but also strong British accents can throw the international students a bit as well. So they've made use of it, and that was quite interesting to learn about these benefits that I hadn't initially thought of. So in this instance I did just kind of use technology, not knowing really the benefits or the consequences, but it seems to have benefited more than really distracted from the main goal of lectures. So how I've decided to improve or enhance the use of Panopto, again I've taken to reading a little bit around the subject and trying to find good practice in other universities or within this university, and I've started to really do bite-sized videos because I noticed when I was teaching on a kind of statistical module that I was getting a lot of emails about how to perform certain analyses, despite giving handouts and writing long emails describing it. I decided that there must be an easier way, and the pre-recording aspects of Panopto really kind of gave me the opportunity to summarize the most common theme, or the common theme in the emails, and then answer everybody all at once and provide them with something that they can keep referring back to if they didn't understand. So I would literally make several how-to videos for them as well, and my emails went down, which is great, because the responding was taking quite a while individually. So that's one way that I've kind of benefited from using that software as well. I'm planning on using a flipped classroom for next academic session, where I will be blocking a lot of my teaching period. So this is something I've had to ask permission for, to kind of block my lecture time and contact hours into the first 3 or 4 weeks of the academic session. They will be flipped classrooms, and the lecture contact time will be used then for kind of seminar or group work. Details I'm still planning, so it will be a large class, so I am a bit worried at the moment, but I think splitting the classes up into smaller groups across the week, so kind of 2 repeated classes, 2 or 3, will give me a minor increase in time, but hopefully better learning experiences for the students. And then the assessments are consolidated in the last few weeks of term as well, so that they're not kind of cramming everything in terms of revision. So they have at least a 3 or 4 week period to kind of learn, go over the material, do some extra reading before they present their assessments, which is completely based on action learning. So they'll have to turn up and perform something. So I usually get them interviewing in class each other, The actual module is a history of psychology module, and the reason why I've chosen action learning is because it's a pretty boring subject really, so I'm trying to bring it to life with them, for them, and part of it is getting them to interview each other as though they were going for a job, but presenting themselves as maybe Aristotle or Plato, and asking them exactly what they can offer today's society in terms of psychological thinking. Very difficult task, but a very fun task as well. The other way I've managed to do this is get them to use their iPhones, for those groups that have had it, to use the Panopto feature on their phones, where they've made their own kind of recordings and uploaded it to the service as well. So once I've got the details sorted, I think I'll have a very different module to how it has been in the past. So I'm still looking forward to the end result, but I'm a bit scared about it as well. I think my main advice to those wishing to use technology but don't know how to maybe integrate it into the kind of learning activities or the learning environment is to first off have a look what's available through kind of the good practice websites in the university, through the Blackboard team, and try to speak to as many people as possible, senior, junior. I find inspiration from all levels in other lecturers, and not necessarily lecturers as well actually. Just speaking to staff that are involved with technology through information services, for example, who have given me a few ideas about some of the readings that they've come across as well. So in terms of using technology, don't just stick to those that are actually practicing the teaching or performing the teaching duties. There are people out there that also know quite a lot about how this stuff works in education as well. So if you do get the opportunity to make use of those members of staff as well, do so, because I've benefited quite a lot from learning what's available and what can be done outside of my current context, departmental context.